Hello everyone, today's in this episode we'll be learning about crawl trap analysis and what exactly is a crawl trap. So basically crawl trap means whenever your website is undergoing any crawling by any bots or spiders or web crawlers, if the web crawler faces certain issues so that they are redirected into an infinite loop time, or your website is having an imbalanced crawling so that the web crawlers are having difficulty to crawl your landing pages. These kind of scenarios are well known as crawl traps, and the analysis behind the same is very much important, because without having a proper crawling, your campaign can never be indexed or rendered, and without having imbalanced rendering and an indexing, your campaign can never be into the search engine result space visibility. So having an effective crawling is very much important to survive in the SEO space. Come, let us see some of the ways by which crawl trap analysis can be acknowledged. So the first thing is how one can identify a crawl trap. So the thing is, if you want to really understand that your site is facing a crawl trap, then one of the obvious things which can prove that your site is having a crawl issue is if your website is taking a long enough time by any of the web tools such as Screaming Frog or any of the scraping tools to crawl your website. Suppose you are running your website through Screaming Frog or through any of the crawler based tools, and if the crawling takes a long enough time, then your site is definitely having some crawl issues, and that might be a crawl trap. There can be different kinds of SEO spider traps or crawl traps. Some of them are never ending URLs, which means that the URLs will be in an infinite loop and they will continue to go on without any full stop or a physical end. There can be mismatched traps, which means that the header and the get response would not be properly matched and the response codes would be irrelevant. Then the next would be subdomain to the main domain redirection can be an issue, which can also lead to a crawl trap. Then there would be a black hat strategy, which is also known as cloaking, where if a user search for a given keyword and if they lands on a different URL structure, that can also lead to a crawl trap. And last but not the least, there can be calendar traps, which means that if there are any calendars embedded on your campaign, they can also lead to an infinite loops. So if you want to detect and correct endless URL traps, then the first thing is you can use tools like SEMrush, which can help you find endless URL traps. You can also use Screaming Frog for finding the same. And some of the best practices is that you can either eliminate the URL and make a fresh URL structure, or you can make sure that the URL have a lower URL length so that it stops after a certain time and the crawl length can be enhanced. Now let us understand what is mix match traps. So the thing is, one of the common e-commerce platform is that consumers sometimes apply many filters to find a relevant product, and in order to do that, there can be mismatch traps, and or like even when someone uses faceted navigations, there can be mismatch traps. Now some of the methods for rectifying those are, you can provide fewer filtering options. You can use robots.txt to block out some of the filters. You can even use robot.txt to block some of the added filters if you have too many filter traps. And last but not the least, you can use session IDs to prevent some of the crawl trapping. Now, subdomain redirect trap. This is when your website is operating on a secure connection and every page on your site is unsecured and is pointed to your secured homepage. You have fallen into the trap. This is the trap which makes Google bots very rerouted and outdated, and this also leads to vulnerability of the pages. Now the common solution for the fix is that you need to configure your entire CMS structure, or you need to check your access log, or you need to repoint your DNS or name records for making sure that your subdomain redirection is properly enhanced, or your entire cPanel configuration might needs to be done. It's my advice, you can consult with the developers for doing this particular step. Then we have crawl trap during keyword searches. So the thing is, suppose the search feature isn't supposed to be crawled or indexed by search engines, and unfortunately whenever some website designers overlooks this fact, this happens, and this can cause a lot of bad intent, which is easily indexable wrong information into the search engines. And the best option to fix this is to allow a no index or a no follow metadata to prevent the search engine from crawling unwanted pages, or even if the site is undergoing any migration procedure. You can also even block the pages from the robot.txt, or even can remove the pages from the search removal section from the Google Search Console. Last type of crawl trap, which is calendar trap. And calendar trap is a trap that can happen when a calendar plugin creates a large number of URLs in the future. The problem with this trap is that it follows or produces a slew of empty pages for search engines to crawl, and it exploits your entire campaign. The best practice is eventually you can re-optimize your calendar plugin setting to limit the number of months to be displayed on the future, and even you can use some of these sensible amounts of months into the future or blocks them into the robots.file so that any futuristic months after a certain limit does not get indexed. Now the thing is, how do crawl traps affect the SEO? So basically Google algorithms reduces the quality of the ranking. Any of the original pages ranking can get reduced due to near duplicate issues, and last but not the least, search engines when wastes a lot of time to crawl unwanted pages, loses a lot of crawl budget, and also gets high in supplemental index and index bloat, and ultimately it reduces the rank of a particular website. Thank you.